record button here. In 30 seconds, we will go live in the group.
Cool. Is it Eva or Eva?
Eva.
That's an important one. Yeah, Eva said, I told her I was nervous about this. She goes, just pretend you're on a Zoom meeting with Evan. You're fine. Evan, he makes me nervous too.
That doesn't help, Eva. All right. Hitting that live button. Loading. And we are live. What's up, Garage Gym Revolution? Thank you for being here for part 4 of our live Q&A series. Really excited about tonight's interview with Mr. Michael Washington, who's based out of Havasu. If you are here watching this live, as always, I want to see #live in the comments so we can shout you out and be here to support you should you have any questions, whether that's for me or for Michael. In addition to that, our hashtag for the week is level up. If the skills and the insight that you learn in these 20-30-minute interviews are of value to you, drop a hashtag level up for your interest in what it is that we are providing. Michael has something really unique and specific towards his audience, and that is his niche. And what's really cool about interviewing you, Michael, as I'm talking to the audience, is that you have so far in this series been the person who has the least amount of time in our program and has already seen some success. But your understanding of your growth is really in its infant stages. And what's really valuable for anybody who's watching this right now or watching in the replay is to know where you started and where you see yourself going. So it's all about the journey for us. If anybody hops on a strategy session with me, you know that that is what is a really valuable aspect of how we bring people on. Is if you value the journey, you are going to be successful in this program. If all you're looking for is a quick buck, most likely I'm not the right guy to help you out, and our community is not really going to be the best community to serve you. So without further ado, just want to thank you for being here, Michael. And again, watching it live, #live in the comments, #level up for Mr. Washington. If you're watching the replay, #replay, and I'll follow up with you. But let's go ahead and dive into a little bit about who you are, what your business is, what you do. Just give us and the audience a rundown as to what Kaizen Golf is and who you are as a coach.
Absolutely. Thanks, Evan. First of all, thanks for having me on with you. I've watched your interviews with our other Garage Gym Gorillas, and it's been very enlightening. And you're right, I do have the least amount of time in. But what you touched on just a moment ago with enjoying the journey and being totally involved in the process. When we first spoke, that's what drew me to the program. And that's what made me want to work with you guys and really get involved with it, because it is about the journey. I'm still involved in developing my program. Kaizen Golf and Fitness has been a brainchild of mine for almost a decade, but I only started it recently, only in the past few months. You know, as a public educator for many years in physical education, and being in that world, getting into the private sector and learning how this operates and becoming an entrepreneur and learning all the things that entails was, you know, it was very, very eye-opening. I wanted to say mind-blowing, but I don't want to scare anybody. But, you know, the reality was it was frightening. It is frightening. It continues to be frightening. But what I keep hearing and reminding myself that if I'm not scared, my goals aren't high enough.
Love
So
that.
I'm really excited about this, and it's been a lot of fun, and a lot of it has become a process that I needed to overcome some of my own fears and some of my own we'll call it paralysis from analysis. Like, I would think too many times about it. You know, it'd take me 15 minutes to write a simple email, when the reality is I just got to put it out there. We'll go with it as it is, and we'll continue to adjust it. And having your guidance and being able to talk to Eva and the rest of the members of the GGR, it's been nothing short of miraculous the way things have changed in the past just 60 days.
That's awesome. Shout out Coach Eva, Client Success Coach Eva. She's a rock star. Again, if you're watching live, tuning in at any time, #live in the comments below. If you have any questions for Michael, feel free to drop them in the comments as well. So I want to touch upon what we talked about when we first connected.
Sure.
And then I want to get some insight as to where your thoughts were based on that. And for any of you who are trying to figure out your niche, figure out your client avatar, figure out what your market is looking for, one of the biggest points that I told Michael when he was coming in was, if you don't choose just one path, you are going to fail at all of the paths that you choose, right? You can't walk in more than one direction at a time. So when you first came on, I said, what's it going to be? And I think you chose golf.
Right.
And then you signed up, and then 24 hours later, I got a message from you. You're like, never mind, it's fitness. Is that okay? And the answer was, yeah, of course. So long as we're choosing the right path, right? It's the same kind of audience, same kind of market. It's just a different direction in how we are going to get our message across. So give us some insight as to where you were the day before you signed up, and then what made you change that insight, and how your, I guess, how your messaging and your understanding of what you want from your business has grown.
Sure. The day before I signed up, I wasn't aware of how little I truly knew. I thought I had some things under wraps, or some the clerical things and some of the background, the ground laying, the foundation of the business itself was something that I was learning as I went, talking to friends, and luckily I had some really special mentors in the fitness business and industry that helped me guide myself through some of the processes that were there. But my background is in kinesiology, and when I got into coaching golf 15 years ago, I found that my own personal niche was in fitness directly related to golf. So when I was asked, you got to pick golf or fitness, I thought, well, can't I have both? And to your point, I don't want to half-ass one thing. I don't want to half-ass two things. I want to whole-ass one thing.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do was still play in both markets, but I believed what you were saying, and then I had to dial in and focus on one. And before I came in, I was like, okay, it's going to be golf, but let's see how these guys are operating their business, and I'm sure I could use some of those same principles. And sure enough, those same principles will apply when that time comes. But for right now, we've been focusing on golf, using your format, really making sure that I bought into the process, and all of a sudden it's paid dividends since then. So, to answer your question, right beforehand, I was dialed in on golf. I already did the fitness thing for 20 years. Different clientele. My students before had to come to me or they'd get in trouble, the truancy. But they're grumpy teenagers that don't want to go to PE class. Now it's an opportunity that I get to work with people that are choosing me on purpose. They want what I have to offer. They want to use the experiences that I've had. I wasn't always a fit person. I played college basketball, and in my 30s, I ballooned, and I had to go through the weight loss process on my own. So I was able to learn it firsthand. I understand how that works for some people, and the hiccups and the pitfalls that come along the way with that. So that's something that I offer. And when I realized that was really the true part of my story, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that was why I do this. The reason I enjoy golf so much is because I was able to get fit and I play better now. But if I boiled it down, and after talking to you, you made me think about it. It was a really simple decision once I boiled it down, and it was going to be fitness, because that was the bottom line for everything.
Yeah. And what's really important also is that you're not letting go of your skills as a golf coach. Like, you're not letting go of any of those aspirations. And anybody who comes in with what is typically the thing that I hear on strategy sessions, which is, I want to do group coaching and one-on-one coaching and online coaching, like, pick your lane. Right. And so for all of you with those insights relative to your offer, relative to your space, relative to your purpose and your passion, right, you can do all of them. You can incorporate all of those things into a hybrid model, which I know that you're currently doing. I'm going to ask you about that after my little rant here.
Sure.
Right. But when it comes to how you present yourself to clients, you need to be exceptional in one thing, and then have those opportunities down the line, or as a lower ticket offer or a higher ticket offer or whatever it might be, in order to say, like, oh, you want this also, or you want this instead? Hey, I can meet you where you are. And that's what's really cool, is even though you started with golf and transitioned to fitness relative to the coaching that we provide in our program, you didn't let go of the golf, because that is still a part of who you are and what you do. You just know that to attract the right people, you're choosing the path that's going to get as much volume for you as possible. So to give people some more insight on your hybrid model, and I think that $5,000 package that you sold, right? Why don't you tell us how you've combined your fitness with your background in golf instruction to provide something really unique? Because I think that's where a lot of people watching are going to get the most amount of value out of this hour or this 20-minute interview.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where I come from with the golf instruction, I'm not your prototypical PGA Tour instructor where I'm going to put your body in a position and expect you to remember it from, club to club, hole to hole, day to day, month to month. My process is, let's get you moving properly, and we'll allow that to be trained into you. Learn the motor memory, make sure that that's something that's ingrained not only in your feel, but you also have an understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. And then that translates into something that's repeatable. You can be consistent. You can do it under pressure. And that's what playing good golf is really all about. You want to be able to rely on it in those different situations. So when it all came through, and I had a client that was interested in not only losing 15 pounds, but wanted to play better, wanted to beat the other people in their group. They wanted to hit the ball a little farther. They got a little on in age, losing a little bit of distance and gaining a little bit around the midsection. And I mentioned to him, so what I do is we can get you in the fitness room. I think we don't need to be on the driving range. I think we need to get you in the weight room and get some resistance training. Let's work on your stability, your rotational ability, and all of the different things that go into the multifaceted movement pattern of a golf swing, and try to make it so that it's repeatable and it's accessible to everybody. When I pitched that to the individual, to my client, they were absolutely just eating it up. They loved the idea because they knew, based on where golf has gone in the past 20 years, they understand that golfers nowadays, they're not just the prototypical old guy that's out there whacking the ball and smoking a cigar and having a beer. These guys are athletes. These guys are in the weight room. You look at what Bryson DeChambeau has done, what Tiger did 20 years ago, what Gary Player did in the 60s, and all these things are fitness related, and they have that growth from the fitness space. And going back to what we just talked about, the most important part for me was the fitness aspect. And when I mentioned to them, look, let's get in the weight room and our fitness facility, and let's get you moving on these different planes. Let's make sure that we have this kind of a foundation, but once a week, in order to accommodate the three session a week pattern, and stick to that same thing that we do in the GGR. We wanted to allow that to kind of a hybrid model. So I have 2 fitness sessions with them a week, and then 1 range or playing session a week. And that allows me to do both. And it allows them to see the progress, not only on the scale, not only where the pants are fitting better, but also they can see the differences in not only their shot making, but also the distance the ball is traveling. And it really is the best of both worlds. And it's because I chose one road first, and then along the way, we were able to pull from different aspects of it. So caps off, sir. It's been a fun ride.
That's awesome. And you touched upon something that's really, really valuable. 2 things, actually. The thing that you just mentioned was your messaging was one path, but having multiple offers after you've refined your message has allowed you to provide a hybrid opportunity for all people that come in. And so for those of you watching, keep in mind when it comes to your messaging efforts, your prospecting efforts, getting people in the door, you need to do that one thing extraordinarily well. And then once they come into your world and they see how awesome of a coach you are, they're like, oh, by the way, your focus on performance is golf related. Hey, we'll do 2 fitness and 1 golf. Bam, because I have the skills as a golf coach. Those of you who train youth basketball athletes or football athletes, like 2 fitness, 1 shooting session. Why not, right? Tennis athletes, same thing, improving rotational stability, mobility, power, all of that kind of stuff. Like your hybrid model, most people refer to hybrid as, partially online, partially in person, but man, it is so expansive based upon your skill set. And when you can start to think outside of the box, this is where your offers really set you apart in the market. And where most trainers are trying to charge less for their stuff, you get to charge more because nobody does what you do. Nobody has the skills and the knowledge that you have. And so those of you who are watching this, that was some very, very valuable insight as to how to separate yourself in the market based upon just all right, it doesn't have to always be semi-private training or one-on-one training. What can you do to go outside of the box that doesn't cost you any more money, doesn't take you any more time, and really dives into your skill set? And if you can do that, you're going to have unlimited leads and an infinite income for the rest of your career. So hats off to you, sir, for recognizing that really, really quickly. So as an educator, you have also a unique background. You also tend to show up for a lot of our open coaching hours, which is phenomenal, having your feedback. But I would like to know, because I do like to teach, I really like all of our open coaching. I feel like I'm teaching a class, right? Like I'm putting myself in your shoes for a little bit. Is there anything about what the Garage Gym Revolution does, coaches, teaches, that stands out to you from an educational standpoint?
Absolutely. There's a number of things. The first thing that jumps out is the way that you are constantly evolving. The first thing that I've noticed about you, just in the short time we've been together, what, 5 weeks now, you've added things to the program. You've continually evolved. Your the new hands-on strategy sessions are phenomenal. Having the copywriting mentorship that we have involved on Tuesdays has been great. It's I never wanted to be satisfied with where I am. Again, we talked about the journey. And if I'm getting a little bit better each day, at the end of the year, we're going to see those aggregate gains added up. And when I see that we started on Mondays and Fridays, and that makes sense because we want to touch base at the beginning, we'll touch base at the end. And, those things, that makes sense. But on our second week, we added in a couple of things. And now I get to learn about what we're talking about yesterday in class, or earlier today in class. Professor. It's stuff that it's a great refresher. My A&P class was 20 years ago. When I finished my phys ed and kinesiology degree, it was still the numbers it started with 1 and 9. So it's great to have that refresher. It's good to see everybody staying up to date. It's great to see the amount of information and the knowledge base of my fellow gorillas in here, and just listening to the knowledge that they have. And I'm among peers, which is fantastic to feel. But what you offer also is you clearly know your stuff, and it's wonderful to be able to, I can reach out at any point in the day and say, hey, I have this call coming in, and I wanted to see what you thought about this particular offer. How can I help this person, and how can I make it very beneficial for both of us? And a quick response, or Eva out of nowhere decided to check in with me this afternoon. Just, hey, how's things going? I was able to bounce some ideas off her and let her know about this talk today, and just how to deal with the nervous energy of being online. I was fine talking in front of a bunch of people in person. I had classes of 40 people, giving speeches in front of gymnasiums full of people, running programs, running tournaments. That was never a problem for me. But this whole camera Zoom lifestyle, it's a very different world for me, and quite frankly, it's a little it's well out of my comfort zone. But one thing I've learned over the past few years is the more I get out of the comfort zone, the more I get comfortable being uncomfortable, the more I'm going to grow. And your program really supports that process, and it supports that feeling, and it definitely has supported my growth over the past month and a half.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. I really appreciate your honesty, your clarity in that, and the kind words. And what's cool is, for anybody who's watched all 4 of these going into our last one tomorrow, is that everybody's takeaway about what they get from the program has been completely different. And yours seems to resonate on leveling up your skills, which is why #level up is in our comments right now. But also the support system that we aim to provide for all of you. And, for me, the only way that I'm able to provide a good service is from having good service. And that trickles down to you guys as coaches, right? To you as a golf instructor, to a Fitpro, right? And so I know that the higher the bar that is set for me, the higher I have to set the bar for the next guy, and that's going to trickle down. And so, yes, the wonderful words are a win for me and anybody that's watching. Yes, I appreciate that, and hope that you see what a great job that we do. But I hope that you take that in stride and recognize that it's more than just about how good we are. It's about how that's going to translate into the service that you provide others. And just know that, like, you're only as strong as your support system, and you either learn what to do from the good experience you have, or you learn exactly what not to do from the bad experiences you have. And hopefully people are setting the bar high for you, so you can set the bar high for your clients.
Well, one thing to that point, if you don't mind me jumping in on it.
Go ahead.
With my background in education, I got a master's degree a number of years ago in education. And what you do very well, they call it in that realm, they call it scaffolding. So if you're building something, you're going to have the scaffolding around it to allow it to take shape in the way you want it. And then as it's building and as it's being formed and as it's getting stronger and able to support itself, you pull that scaffolding away and let them go. And I think that's what your program has done very well for me, because I needed the walker. I needed the push down the road to going towards charging the appropriate amount, making sure that the programs were of a proper appropriate length for the goals that we were looking at. And as I got going, you gently took the training wheels off, and every once in a while gave a needed shove. And knowing when to do that, knowing when to be there for support, and knowing when to say, this is something you need to figure out for yourself. Check in with me after you get an answer or an idea, and we'll go from there. And that's been very helpful. From an educator standpoint, it's exactly the way it's designed to be. It's a very good program in that regard, because it fosters, the Socratic method. It fosters somebody going out and doing their own work. You're not going to do the work for us, but you'll certainly be there to help us along the way. And that's something that I've really appreciated in the program.
Awesome. I like the word scaffolding. I'm gonna steal that for sure.
It's all true. It all gets borrowed.
Yeah. All right. I got two more questions for you. The first one is a little bit of brag time for you, which is, how has your life changed in the past 5 or 6 weeks since deciding to go all in on your career, your business, and joining us?
Oh, shoot. I don't think we have enough time. I'm in the process of purchasing a home. I'm in the process of starting, diving into this business. I put out a Facebook post yesterday. It was my first one that I've ever put out there. And I did it, with your scaffolding and, a gentle kick in the rear to get it going. And I wanted to do it on Monday as I was supposed to. And I took my time and got it out on Wednesday. But I had a sales call today. I've got another one after we talk here. And the feedback has been very, very positive. My old college basketball coach messaged me from across the country telling me what a wonderful job he's going. And he wanted to talk to me about some online work. So he's like, hey, you look great. And the funny part is, I told him in the message that, he complimented me on the way I'm still in shape. I'm pushing 40 or 50 with both hands. And he says, you're in great shape. I need your program. And so, you know what, coach, it'd be an honor to help the guy that introduced me to the weight room in the very first place, and to have it be that having it all wrapped up and symmetrical like that, it's really, really gratifying. But as far as from a personal standpoint, I set my own hours. I'm able to be with my kids whenever I am able to do so. My schedule goes around their school schedule. I've got a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old. One's playing the sax, one's running cross country, the other one's playing soccer. And there were 7 different places at once. And having the ability to command my own time and be able to make the most out of the time that I have devoted to it, it's been nothing short of life-changing. And again, I get to, I close on my house in about 29 days. And it's been wonderful. Like, the whole experience has been not only lucrative, not only self-affirming, but it's showing me that, you put in the time, you put in the work, and if you trust the process, it is a slow burn at times. And then all of a sudden the floodgates open up, and having the background done and doing the homework first, like the modules allow us to do, has been it grounds you in a way that, okay, I know I've done this. It's very similar to walking into a final exam where you've studied your butt off all year long, and you know that you're ready for that test, and you're not nervous. You're just, let's get this going. As opposed to, I missed most of the classes. I definitely didn't do the readings. You walk into class and now you're unprepared. So this program has allowed me to be prepared for those service calls, those contact information, the interviews, and to make the sales, because I never had to sell my education before. They were forced to be there, and now I still don't have to sell it because I believe in it so much. I just talk about my story. I use the format, like you said, to make sure that we understand how to communicate with people in this world, and in the fitness space in particular. And it allows it allows it to just, the car drives itself. I just get to be there and be a part of it and show what I believe in. And you guys have given me the roadmap to it. And I'm really appreciative of it.
Man, that is so cool. Those words that you said is, I still don't have to sell myself because I believe in it so much. That deserves a poster on some college girl's wall. That is incredible. I love that so much. I got one more question for you, Michael. But before we do that, again, shout out to Michael in the comments below. We need a hashtag level up for him. Again, you're watching the replay. It's hashtag replay next to that level up. Hashtag live if you're here with us live. We're going to take a quick commercial break on our second to last day before we close down this offer. Similar offer to what you guys are running as clients. Anybody who joins our Inner Circle program right now gets an extra 4 weeks at no additional cost. And it's a 60-day money back guarantee with our program, which means that if you do the work and you don't see a complete return on your investment, you got 60 days to get a refund. No other program offers that.
How many times have you had to give a refund, Evan?
Once. Thank you for interrupting me with that, but I'm going to operate with clarity. Only once. And you know whose fault it was? It was mine for not doing my best to understand that person's needs. They were very excited about what they were getting into without me having a full grasp as to their business. And after about a week, they opted out. And it was the only refund I've had to give. So not based on service, not based on quality, and not based on what we do, based on poor fit. And I'm being honest with you about that, and for anybody who's watching this, so that you don't make that same mistake in the future. When people come into your gym, I'm very good at recognizing who is a good fit for us and who's not in the gym. In this world, it takes a little bit more practice. So still work in progress on that. But this goes to say that with 60 days, there is kind of a no-brainer and not a risk that you're taking at all. So if you're watching that, if you're watching this replay, level up, watching it live, level up. I'll reach out to you. I'm also going to tag Michael in the comments below if you have any questions about what information he's presented to you, how he's identified his market, and his niche, right? Michael, do people here have your permission to reach out to you?
Please do. Be happy to help.
Fantastic. So that gets into our very last question, the end of our commercial break. If there's anyone watching who is on the fence about booking a strategy session with us, what would you say to them?
I would mention the reason I interrupted you, and I won't apologize for it, because the purpose was that guarantee is you know, it's a goal-oriented thing. Are we going to accomplish what we set out to do? And what I've learned in being in the process is that when we do the work, the results are going to come. It's just like anything else that I've tried to do, whether it be in the weight room, whether it be with nutrition, whether it be on the golf course or in the basketball court years ago. If you focus on the process, the results are going to come. But if I'm focused on the results, you know, the process gets muddled and then you end up somewhere where you didn't even want to be. And so if I was going to talk to some, you know, talking to the audience right now saying, I'm on the fence, the only thing you have to lose is the time that you're not in the program. So if you wait 3 days, those are 3 days that you miss out on working and getting toward closer to your goals. And if you focus on the process, those results are going to be there because you've spent a lot of time. You've spent, you know, countless amounts of you know, all of your resources and time in creating what you have. And again, every day you're making it better. And to be able to be a part of it, to feel and realize some of the successes, jumping through some of the things that were uncomfortable and still are uncomfortable, but I know that there's other things on the other side that are so much better. I think the best thing I would point out to somebody is the fact that you've done this for so long and you've been very successful at it. And the only time that you've had to say this isn't going to fit is just when it simply doesn't fit. And that's I think it's a testament to what the program allows you to do. And it gives us the freedom to continue to grow in our own particular niche, but also with an understanding that there is that format that we can rely on that we know works. You know, when I talk to you, and we had that back and forth for a good 45 minutes, I think. I was sold on it really, really early on, just because I knew that our chemistry worked. We talked about the process, we talked about the journey. And when you explained it to me in a way that, hey, look, if it doesn't work, you know, you don't have anything to lose. And I said, you know what, let's give this a run. And here it has been, you know, what, 40 days? you know, I got no complaints, and all I can do is tell people, just give it a try and level yourself up, get out here and do it.
Awesome. I love that. So much gold in this. I'm going to have to rewatch this replay because of all the nuggets of wisdom, all those one-liners you threw out there. Super valuable. Michael, thank you so much for being here. Hang back with me for 2 minutes as we wrap this up. Guys, we got one more coming to you tomorrow evening, same time. If you have any questions, I'm going to drop Michael's name in the comments. Feel free to reach out to him for any questions on whatever it is relative to his business or finding your niche. He's an incredible resource. And if you got any other questions about the program, the offer, or me in general, don't hesitate to slide into my DMs. I look forward to being of service to you, providing you as much value as I know that Michael is getting. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Adios.